One of the most difficult times or things for people to do is to pay attention to subject matter that really is not part of their wheelhouse, their bailiwick. If you really want to be a truly sentient member of the world, you've got to pay attention to everything. Know everything that's going on, and I mean everything. Focus, focus, focus on everything that is going on. And it may not be a particular subject you care about. It may not be. And I've told you this. I've said one of the things you must focus on is what's how the phenomenon of uh, the various folks in the media and the like. For example, do you know what one of the hottest topics right now on the media or in the media is right now? You know what it is in terms of social media? And I noticed this: menopause. Huge. Now, I'm not saying dwell on this. I'm not doing that. I'm not in any way suggesting you should care about this. But notice all of a sudden, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Where did this come from? Where did this come from? The most exciting news that I have enjoyed so much has happened between over the weekend with, or whatever recently with, I should say, with Cat Williams and Shannon Sharp or Shay Shay or what have you. It is, without a doubt, fascinating. Now, if I have to tell you why it's fascinating, you don't understand. It is something that you will love. He delves into what appears to be an appreciation for what some people call the Illuminati or the whatever phrase you want to call. I call it the shadow government. He talks about the chosen ones. He talks about Harvey Weinstein. He talks about Epstein Island. It is one of the most brutal, brave, wonderful, glorious attacks on everybody in a world that, frankly, most of you and us, I'm not a Cedric the Entertainer. I know a little bit about Chappelle Transit, but you can call it the Black or African American, whatever you want to call it. It is fascinating. Listen to it. This guy is a work in the best way. He's the heel. He's pro wrestling 100%. Shannon Sharp, watch this. It's pay attention. Listen to what they're saying. Listen to the reaction. I used to be very, very, for years in the kind of the stand-up world. And I hated comedians. Hated them. They're the most unfunny people I've ever met in my life. And by the way, I hope you wonderful, dear people, received yesterday's little blast regarding my appearance at the cutting room, which we'll talk about in a moment. But there's a line from Mort Saul. And Mort Saul says, professional comedians, surprisingly, have a lack of humor. They're insensitive to the insanity of our times. There are people I know who are not funny, who absolutely, positively have a sense of, by the way, there's the newsletter. Please sign up for it. But they have no sense of real, pure, raw, what's funny. They're not funny to be with. They're not entertaining. They go on in this robotic kind of a formulaic scripted thing where they've got their set that's tight and they write a joke and I'm going to write a joke and hey, let's write a joke. And I'm meeting with my writing partner. He's so ugly that he derailed a train or something like that. And isn't this great? That's a good joke. Here's a joke I've got. And it's like mathematical. There's nothing in it that's even remotely, what's the word? Natural, for lack of a better word. So anyway, around this time, it was, remember Def Comedy Jam? It was right kind of at that thing. And I played at the best clubs. When I mean the best, I don't mean the biggest. I mean the best comedy club. They were great. Rascals in West Orange, New Jersey, was the greatest one of them all. It was. I mean, we could not wait. We got there early and couldn't wait. Didn't want to leave. Didn't want to leave. It was great. The energy. Boodles in West Orange. Oh, Jarvis Boone played music into the night. It was great. Well, right around that time, sort of, as I was like, we would do certain things where maybe I would be done early, or we would share certain things. Like, for example, one time at the cutting room, when I left, Chappelle came in afterwards. So I kind of opened for him, so to speak. And they took all the tables out, they just put chairs, and you had to drop your cell phones into these bags. There's a name for it. And he's very, very good, and I respect him a lot. But, and what I like is he's into that. He's a little bit dangerous. He's dangerous. But going back to what I was saying, which I forgot, regular comedy comes with this. I played bananas and cuckoos and ha-has and this and that and Carolines, and my first time ever was at the Claridge in New Jersey, in Atlantic City. First time ever. I had no idea what I was doing. But then came kind of the deaf comedy thing, and I thought, wow. And I remember one time, I don't think it was my thing, but I went, and I've never seen anything like this. It was, for example, let's take the Catholic Church. Here's a Sunday church. And he took the bread, gave it to his disciples, and said, "Take this, all of you, need of it. This is my body." American. And then maybe a Joel Osteen. And the love of Jesus is in your heart. Okay. Then we got the black teachers. In the name of Jesus. I remember watching the Reverend James Cleveland, and then when I was working for a U.S. senator, I would go to the AME churches. It was during elections. We would go in during election. Loved it. Do you ever see people who just lose their minds dancing and spinning? I said, this is great. That's the black comedy thing. It's not just, it's ribaldry and it's cachinnations and it's great. It's another world. Notice it. Focus on it. Learn it. More knowledge. The ones who I think were incredible, the comedians, so to speak, the rappers, the most important rapper maybe ever is KRS-One. Have you heard him? Oh, Alex Jones had him on. This guy is a prophet. KRS-One is it. One of us. Dick Gregory. Oh, Jesus. This guy was nobody. He got angry at the end. I opened for Dick Gregory, Mort Saw, and Robert Klein at a venue in New Jersey. It was kind of, when I say open, I was like this master of ceremony. I'm not trying to kid you. But I did a few things here and there. But I couldn't believe it. And Dick Gregory, oh God, most powerful man in the world. Mort Saw took on the Kennedys. Dick Gregory, forget Lenny Bruce. Lenny Bruce just kept getting arrested. He got arrested for basically his. It wasn't, prophetic. George Carlin, I think, became more of that later on. Anyway, so I didn't even know when this was. Cat Williams, please tell me you know it. Katt, right? He went after Steve Harvey. Steve Harvey. I mean, he is so great. And why is he so dangerous? And why is he so funny? He says, and I'm not going to interview him because Steve Harvey can't speak English. That country boy can't speak, can't read. Oh my God, I'm saying to myself, yes. Yeah. And they don't know what to do by virtue of his, dear God, let's see if anybody sues him. Let's see if anybody says what you said was wrong. I'm going to tell you a true story. And we'll get to this other stuff in a moment. But I got to tell you this story. This one blew my mind. Do you ever know this? Sometimes you'll say, how can that be? Do you ever do that? How is it that you can have a president of the United States who is, for all practical purposes, I mean, he's out of his mind. How can that be, right? How can that be? You've said this before, haven't you? You've said this before. I've said it too. How can this be? Well, there was a fellow years ago who was I'm not going to mention his name, but he was happened to be a black, kind of like an author or whatever. And this fellow that I knew from this kind of a big kind of an agency wanted to meet him. So the story was, he said, come to our office, and he says, are you going to send a car for me? Now, this is before Uber. This is before limos. This is before a lot of stuff. And he told me that the person, the story was that, well, forget that part. I don't want to get too specific. Just let me leave that part out. That might be too identifiable. Let me get to the crux of it. This man's an author. And normally, most people would say that if you're an author, you're probably able to read and write, right? Doesn't that make sense? You're probably. Okay. So when he went to this thing, they did this kind of a run through, and they had cue cards then. Before teleprompters, they had cue cards. And he said, excuse me, he to the cue card boy or girl, whatever they were called. He says, can I talk to you more? He goes, yeah. He goes, can you read this to me? What he says, can you read? I want you to read this cue card to me, or these cue cards. He says, go ahead. And he said, all right, okay. So he's reading them. And he said, okay. Read it one more time. Okay, thank you. So he gets up and he does it. Guess what? He couldn't read. Illiterate. Hid it his whole life. The number of people who are illiterate in this country would blow your mind. If ever there is somebody that if ever there was something that I would love to be a part of, and I've never done this, and I always say, whoa, don't have any time. But I would love to be a part of a literacy program. I would love to sit down and just say, I'm going to show you how to do this. To take a child's reader and say, let me just go through this. And to take somebody who's never read. Do you know what that is? How you have to hide that? Do you know the level that people go through to hide? You can't believe how many people are illiterate. I don't mean poor readers. I mean illiterate. So anyway, so this guy couldn't read. And they jumped on the agent. They said, you never checked this out. He said, why would I ask him whether he read? He's an author. Okay. Cat Williams, dear God, you can't believe the response. I got to tell you that Shay, the Shannon Sharp, I love his show. I love his whole thing. Tell me you see, he blew everything up. Okay, here we go. Shannon Sharp. Where is it? Hang on. Here we go. Just a minute. Let me give you an idea of this. It's the biggest. Just look at it this weekend. Blew up. This is classic professional wrestling. This is the work. Here we go. Club Shay. 2 million subscribers. And they have every conceivable version of this. Here we go. Cat Williams Unleashed, full episode, 2 hours and 46 minutes, 28 million views. Now, let me tell you something. The other night, I happened to see Janine Pirro commenting on the judge in Las Vegas who dove over the bench to beat this poor, or the defendant who jumped up. And I thought to myself, oh, God. Oh, there she goes, Judge. I should take this person outside. They should arrest immediately. Thank you, Gene. And I thought, there's this La La Land. This is AM. Remember the first record player you had? I had one that I used to get a shock on. It wasn't grounded. I remember playing Get Off of My Cloud by the Rolling Stones. I swear to God, on London, I think it was. And it was metal, and I would be, I got to wear. I mean, that's Judge Janine. She's that first kind of a plug and play. Remember that Kenner was a plug and play? My first radio. That's AM. That's Fox News. Then there's this other, wow, 28. When you say how many people viewed it, no, they broke that up into like 7,500 different versions of it. Then there are people who take that and they themselves will put it on their YouTube channel and they'll comment on it. And they basically see it. They do it all the time with McGregor, with the Sachs and others. They have people who basically just repack it. Anyway, what I'm telling you, and I know this is a rather roundabout way, is people love the truth. Or as my Aunt Angie would say, the truth. She also said birthday. Listen to the message. Everything he said, Cat has this way. He was on the Larry King show. Larry King, he was brilliant. I always thought he was funny. But just watch it. And what is it? True. KRS-One, absolute. It's more of a rapper. Brilliant. You will not believe. And what do? What is our version of the truth? I think there's a video camera that they had inside the Capitol that allowed people to be actually recorded. So I don't know how the government can charge somebody with seditious conspiracy when their actual security people invited them in. Are we still saying that? Yes. Oh my God. We have got to think more like Cat. Be bold. And by the way, Owen Schroyer did a great post, and I referenced it. January 6th had nothing to do with being in the Capitol. You do know that, right? It had nothing to do with it. So what I was trying to tell last night. You're rude. This was the funniest thing. Somebody last night, you're rude. And I'm thinking, and I'm listening to this rude. Look at Cat Williams. There was a woman. I think she was a morning DJ. By the way, the hottest AM radio is alive. Well, FM too, but where talk radio was really the most important. 3 categories. Number 1, sports. Again, it might be more FM, but sports talk is brutal. Sports talk is critical. Sports talk is important. Sports talk is critical. All right, number 1. Number 2, Latino, hot, Hot 97 hot for Latino, Puerto Rican, whatever. Unbelievable. I don't think they play any music. It is just the best, the rawest, the most brutal, the best, what radio used to be. And also Black, African American. That's the biggest. That's the biggest. Then we go to white folks AM in the morning. On what do we have? As far as I'm concerned, the Capitol Police actually invited them into. That's it. that's as deep as, that Epstein. By golly, I think he was up to something. I may be going out on a limb here, but I think there was some nefarious activity going on there with that Jeffrey Epstein. I'm no lawyer, but by God, I think there's something going on. That's That's what they do. Edie Crowley says, I read a lot, but I read a lot, but am a bit of a number dyslexic. Okay. By the way, dyslexia, may I just say something? Dyslexia involving the processing of words or numbers points to something which is one of the most unnatural things that humans do, and that's processing numbers and the like. So don't feel bad. Now, speaking of which, there is no connection, by the way. This is your invitation to meet me and to be with me and Mrs. L and bring your camera on February the 3rd as I return to the New York City's fabled cutting room. That is right, dear friends. And this is where you can get your tickets right there. Right there. One more time, friends. One more time for you in the back. Let me see if we can do this. Here we go. Try this. There we go. Cutting room. That's it. And here is the ticket. Here is the ticket. Okay. Okay. Oh, God. I got to read this one. Thank you very much. Thank you for this. Thank you. Thank you, dear friends. Thank you. Thank you immensely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Let me get rid of this damn thing. Hang on a minute. Because I got to read this. I love this. I love this. Okay. Where? God. Son of a. Why you? Oh, here we go. Okay, good. There we go. Let's get rid of that and get rid of this. Okay. And by the way, here is Sparky says, loved Cat Williams' character, a pimp named Slickback on Aaron Magruder's animated cartoon, The Boondocks. Sparky, I love you. Let me go on the record and say, I love you. Out of all the things you've ever said, out of everything you've ever done in your service to this country and in your explication and your performance here, I never thought I'd ever think or hear you saying, loved Cat Williams' character, a pimp named Slickback on Aaron Magruder's animated cartoon, The Boondocks. You are so out there. It is not even rationally. I'm just incapable of putting together any kind of a explication for your genius and the multiplicity of your subject and area level. Just absolutely superb. That's all I want to say. Just blew me away. See, I love that. I love when people are involved in a lot of things. A lot of things. I also like the following. I like needlessly complex. What do I mean? Let me read this to you. I like sometimes complex, and then I love needlessly. Let me read this one thing to you. This is from one of, I'm not going to mention you by name because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but let me read this. The human mind, I think, as opposed to the animal mind, anyway, the human mind is too irrational to convey objective reality. We attempt to rationalize, but our primary fundamental process is irrational. We are emotional beings. Is that true? Is that true? What does it mean? But is that true? Do you think we're unable to focus? I would venture to say that most human beings convey nothing of any rational or irrationality. Most human beings say particularly nothing. Most say nothing. Nothing. I think in our group, here's one for you. But I like that. I like creating complex thought, which is the how do I say this? Which is the sometimes I've heard people in the new age world being aware and being sentient involves not only a concomitant, conviviality with that which is before us, spiritually, emotionally, dare I say, concupiscently in some particular case. Of course, eschewing anything that is of conspicuous ribaldry. But the confluence, if you will, the concatenation of experiential with that which represents a far more patellar, yet people just love talking shit. And it's fun. And there's a degree of truth to it, but it's just fun. Here's one for you. How many people believe in body doubles? Please. How many people believe that there are body doubles? That there have been body doubles? How many? How many? I swear to God, somebody showed me a picture of Melania Trump right there, and I have no basis of fact of thinking she has a body double, but I said, that's not Melania. Do you think there has been body doubles? Do you? Do you? Do you? Do you think so? They say that Putin's got a body double. A body double. I guess if you're far away or something, you can't be too close. I don't think he's going to be on TV. Saddam Hussein, body doubles. You remember the old joke where the body doubles, like, body double, I forget what it was. It's something to the effect of, I got good news and bad news. What's the good news? The good news is we've doubled your salary. What's the bad news? Saddam lost his arm today. Get it? So they have to understand this. Do you believe this? How do you know there are body doubles? By the way, look at the Maine's fascist operative and shadow government, Dupe, Shenna Bellows, and the destruction of our republic. We'll get to that in a moment. How many people? How do you know? Yeah, somebody like a stuntman. Yeah, so to speak. Yeah. How do you know they're a body double? How? Pictures to prove it. What pictures? How do you know this? The feds use decoys all the time. For what? What decoys? What are we talking about? Celebrities, do we have that? Do we know that? I'm sure we've had it. I'm sure we've had it. Now, let me stop right there. The other person comes in and says, they're everywhere. Somebody put up a picture, and I retweeted it, of about 6 or 9 pictures of John Fetterman. And they said, these are all body doubles, or they're the same person, or they're supposed to be. Anyway, they just look different. They looked at the ear. You know what this is called, by the way? The ear convolutions, little flaps in your ear. They're called pinna. And the pinna and the auricle, auricle. The particular, it's almost like a fingerprint. And they said, by virtue of this, that yes, that Jeffrey Epstein, it was somebody else, because by God, these ears don't match. Could it be? I don't know. Could it be? Now, we're not talking Elvis impersonated. We're talking about people who are actually sent out to be someone else and not. Also, we get into this, crisis actors. Do you believe there are crisis actors? Now, there are crisis actors where you can go online, and whenever the Red Cross or somebody decides to put something on, they will have they'll have recruit like a call list, open call list. Come on the show, come on and rehearse or audition or whatever it is, and we'll give you $25 in a box lunch, and we have you lay out in a field, and we're going to teach people how to pick folks up and that sort of thing. You understand that? Does that make sense to you? Good. Now the question is, do you believe that major events, and I'm not talking school shootings or anything like that, But do you believe? Now, remember, I'm not saying, is it possible? Because people always confuse, is it possible, with do you believe it's happened? But do you believe it's possible? Do you believe it is possible? Or actually, I'm violating my own rule. Do you believe it has actually happened? The point is, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know whether it's happened now. I do know that there have been doubles and, certain things. And I think, though, has anybody ever come out and said, this is a double? Hello, my name is Eddie Fetterman, and I'm Jetterman. I'm Fetterman's body double. I'm a body. Have you heard that before? No. Have you ever heard somebody say, yeah, there's this business, and the major guy is in Hollywood, and you go and you look, and we're not talking about impersonators like Elvis impersonators. Like sometimes you can have, somebody who looks like Brad Pitt show up. By the way, have you seen deep fakes? Oh dear God, have you seen the Leonardo DiCaprio deep fake on YouTube? It's the most incredible thing in the world. It's unbelievable. The guy's shorter and fatter, but his face is perfect. But do you know? How do you know this? How do you know this? Well, you've heard people talk about it. You've heard people write about it. You've heard it be suggested. But have you ever seen it? But somebody comes in and goes, "Hello, my name is I'm a body double. Here's a catalog of my work. Here I am. Here. I'm a Trudeau, but Justin Trudeau body double. I'm here. This is me. This is me. This is me at this bank robbery. Yeah, the hostage. That's me there. Have you ever seen this? You ever seen this? How do you know what you know? How do you know this? This is called the epistemology, the notion of the study of knowledge. This is almost like the not ontology, so to speak, but this is, how do you know these things? And you realize sometimes, well, I don't really know, but it's whatever. Do you know this? Have you ever heard? Has anybody come on and admitted it? How would you know this? Well, I suspect it. This is one of the things which we have to do. It's the most. I'm telling you, when you look at what you think you know, you can't prove it. You don't even know. You don't even remember why. It's kind of like the Mandela effect and all this other kind of jazz. It's this belief system that you believe in. Now there are some things like Eric Dadius will tell you. Faith is purely, I feel it, and there's no proof, and that's it. Got it. I think love is like that. I love her, love him, whatever you are, and that's it. And I feel it, and that's it. Great. Not everything can be proved scientifically, quantitatively, but the question I have for you is simply this: how do you know what you know? How do you know this? I've got a friend of mine who might be watching right now. I'll never call him out. He believes with everything in his being that we never landed on the moon, and sends me stuff constantly. Great pictures. Great interviews. People from the Hasselblad, whatever, camera company. People who say, here's the suit. Here's the spacesuit. You'll die out there. There's no anything. The radiation, blah, 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 blah. The sun, there's no stars. The shadows of the horizon. I mean, he just goes, it's as clear. And it's wonderful. And I ask him, but how do you know this? I've got it here. What do you have here? I've got an interview with who? This man who worked, and he says this. Okay. You want to go to court with this? You want to go to court with this? You think we'll get a conviction, so to speak? As opposed to this. State your name for the record. Demetrius Splitkin. What did you do? I worked from NASA from 1968 to 1971, where I was abruptly fired for threatening to reveal the secrets of such and such. And can you prove that? Yes. Here's a resignation letter. It says you were being fired because, well, that's pretty good. Enter that into evidence. What happened? I was there in the back set studio. Stanley Kubrick came in. It was right before 68. They were being worried because we had to beat the Russians and we had to go to Russia. And he came in and Kubrick did this and he said, in 2001, and they made a deal because he has some kind of a, and it went on and on. And I was there. And here's a picture of me. And there's Kubrick. And here's the set. And there's the lunar. And this is me right here. Here's me. I'm here. And maybe it'd be great if you had somebody else. Now that might be, that might be like, wow, that's something. But we don't have that. We don't have that. Why is that? See, and Tim says he's probably right. I don't work by probably, Timmy boy. I don't work for probably. Maybe, could be. That doesn't make any sense to me. How do you know what you know? Can you prove any? I don't know. I don't know. And people say all the time, I believe this. I believe. Well, I mean, could be. No. I believe this. I don't. There's no way. So I asked this question. And to me, that's why I said probably happened. Probably. Come on, don't let that probably fool you. That means I believe it. Let me ask you this question. If I sat down with Vladimir Putin and said, President Putin, I guess he's president, right? Anyway, I don't even know. Sometimes I get confused. By the way, happy Merry Christmas to all of our Orthodox friends. Today is their Christmas. Happy. Yeah, President of Russia, Vladimir Putin. Okay. President Putin, yes. Do you have access to experts in your government who were alive during the Kennedy or during the space? Yes. If your individuals, your experts, could not have done this themselves, you were the first in space with I think it was wasn't Laika, whatever it was, the dog, and then the chimp, or were we the chimp? Then there was Sputnik, and then there was Yuri Gagarin, and then there was the woman. You were up and you were going crazy. Do you think if there's any way, if Putin had the goods on us, that he'd say, oh, by the way, yeah, before we got into Ukraine, yeah, you never landed on the moon. You didn't knock me down, Ray. Remember that line from Raging Bull? You don't think Putin would say, I know all about this? You don't think China was, not only that, China, you don't think the top space engineers in the world would say, oh, come on. But it never came out. Never. What? Don't you think that odd? Don't you think that's strange? Sparky says, did you see my super chat about illiteracy? I couldn't read it. I'm sorry, I couldn't. Excuse me. I'm sorry, I did not. Sparky says, literacy wasn't common a couple of 100 years ago. But what about arithmetic? It must have been more common, or else people would get cheated. Yes. Sparky, have you ever, and by the way, thank you. Have you ever investigated or looked at the history of zero? Who invented zero? What is zero? Have you thought about that? What is zero? Now, let me stop right now. Let me please, for 1 second, because it's time for, hang on, let me get rid of my, just a minute. Sparky, you are without a doubt, without peer, my friend. There we go. That was funny. Did you see my general literacy? I couldn't read it. Very funny. I thought it was funny. Okay, let's talk about something very, very important. Ready for this? What is it? MyPillow.com. That's right, sports fans. MyPillow.com. Oh my. I just want to make it very, very clear. Mike Lindell is an American hero, okay? He has supported us, and we support him, and that's why if you go to MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel, and I just took this one, this is the top 3. I'm not going to go run through this. This is just the top 3. from MyPillow mattresses. Look at this. 40% off, $100 off, as low as $99. It's the most incredible thing in the world. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. Look at this. It just goes on. And plus, if you sign up, you get a free gift. MyPillow 2.0, the slippers. It's the most. I'm so excited. I'm flummoxed. I'm doing a hamana. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. Receive a free gift or call 800-645-4965 and find out and see for yourself how fast Mike Lindell answers the phone. Okay? Now, let me talk to you about something which is very important, which I think we're kind of getting to. You know, and I know that if we knew the truth, we would be, we wouldn't believe. Let me do a little thing. How many of you believe? Now, when I say believe, and it's a very weird word, believe. How many of you believe that Donald Trump won the 2020 election, that Donald Trump should have been the winner, and that it was stolen legally? How many believe that? Zero. I believe zero was either Arab or Indian, or I think you might be correct. How many believe that? How many believe? Tim, he probably did. I can see Tim at the Waffle House. What'd you pay for this? I probably will. Wait a minute, what? I'll probably have I like that. Probabilistically speaking. I believe. How many of you believe? Can you prove it? Can you prove it? Maybe not prove it. There's a lot of things that I can't prove. What does that mean? Prove to whose satisfaction? To my satisfaction, I believe so. Do you have to prove this? How many of you believe there is a God, a monotheistic deity that is in charge of the world, created the world, looks over you, answers your prayers, can change the course of events? How many of you believe in a God? Now, can you prove it? I don't know what prove it means, but you know it's true. In your heart it is. You believe it. How many of you believe that President Kennedy was killed via a conspiracy? Or, rephrasing this, how many of you do not believe that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone? Can you prove it? Well, sometimes I'm thinking, you know what? I'd like to explain to you a little bit of this thing called, if you don't mind, circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence. What does that mean? Well, let me give you the story and then we'll go through it, shall we? Circumstantial evidence. It goes like this. You go to bed. By the way, here in New York City, no big snow, but upstate New York, pretty good. A lot of snow. Up there. Pretty good. Okay? All right. Now, you go to bed. There's snow on the bed, on the floor, on the ground. Snow. You wake up in the morning, little rabbit, little prints. And you look and go, yep, that's a rabbit track. I believe a rabbit was here. How do you know? Did you see it? No, I didn't see it. Well, how do you know it was not somebody with a rabbit, a stick? Remember that Loch Ness monster? Remember the steps? Remember that? They had these big, well, I don't know if somebody had a stick. You got to be probabilistically, to use Tim's word, probably. But did you see it? I didn't see it. But something came here. Snow doesn't leave these patterns. Life like that is sometimes like that. Do you hear what's going on? I go by suspicions. My life is in two different situations, probable cause and reasonable doubt. I'm mostly in the probable cause, meaning I believe sometimes there's evidence enough to believe that such and such is such, but I don't believe we're here to, I don't think I can prove the, what's the word? I don't think I can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt because I don't have evidence, but I have probable cause to arrest. I think there's absolutely probable cause or something to believe. Yeah, absolutely. I think there are some things in life that just we cannot possibly explain in words that will never. We just can't do this. So let me go back. Let me go back. What's going on? I've got so much. Sparky, by the way, says, I recall being disappointed. Hang on. I believe recall being disappointed the Apollo 11 spacecraft was named the Columbia and Eagle instead of Charlie Brown and Snoopy like Apollo 10. Well, where are the why have we not done this since? I don't know. Who remembers watching it when you were 11 years old? Oh, well, not 11. I was 11 in 1969. I was 11 years old. I remember watching it on TV. It was something else. Remember that? You mean to tell me if the Russians, you think the Russians will say, listen to me, this is bullshit. Well, this is bullshit. I'm with the KGB. There's no way that the radiation would kill. What? They've kept this secret a long time. What about UFOs? Do you believe that there's life in the universe, that there's life elsewhere, that life is here and it's landed? And do you believe that? What do you need to know? You go through life without proof of virtually anything, but you have a belief system. I believe right now that we are in this weird kind of a totalitarian fascism where the rules of law and rules of order have been completely supplanted by groups of people who do nothing more than want to just destroy and use, by the way, Donald Trump as a pretext. I do not believe in a devil. I believe that is man-made and mythical and cartoonish, but I do believe that there is a part of some people's minds that we call evil. I believe that the official rules, the official narrative of 9/11 defies physical reality, but that's all I can tell you. That's all I can tell you. I don't know who's what, who did what, why this, but I'm thinking, no, that's not it. I believe that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered. This is a homicide. This was not. And by the way, one could say that maybe it was an accidental and then cover it up to make it look. There's all kinds of other things, but he did not die of suicide. Absolutely not. I believe that John Kennedy was killed by virtue of a conspiracy, and that most probably Lee Harvey Oswald had nothing to do and probably knew nothing about anything. Yep. I believe that in our government, there are people who hold the secrets to things that would blow your mind that might number 3 people tops. Remember years ago, somebody introduced me to the notion of top secret means nothing, that the president does not have access to everything. There are levels of, they always call them the 5-lettered ones, Umbra, Zebra, Ultra, those who have, they might, and it's a need to know basis, is compartmentalized, and there may be, and it might be somebody, with Boeing, it might be somebody with Raytheon, it might not even be anybody in the government per se. I believe there is circumstantial evidence to believe that the government, through DARPA and In-Q-Tel and its various financial or investment banking operations, created this superstructure called social media. And that they, dear friends, that they saw something which was so perfect, a device that you will hand your phone, you hold more than your keys, your family. There's no need to implant a chip. No need. None. Unless you want to go to nanotechnology or something. And that this device you would take everywhere, and that the next level was it became the place for you to explicate and to limb and to showcase your various desires. Isn't that something? And you, dear friends, you actually, truly, and literally, and this is true, literally, you became a part of you became a part of this new form of communication where the First Amendment became inapplicable. And the reason why is because the government wasn't the one primarily holding you down, keeping your voice from being heard. Oh, no, 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 no. It was something different. They took how you explicated and conveyed and transmitted ideas, and it shut that down via proxy. Do you hear what I'm saying? That was something nobody ever heard of before. I believe that in my heart of hearts. I absolutely mean this, dear friends. I see it and I know it. And I would love to meet, if I could somehow get Eric Blair, George Orwell, and bring it back and say, you don't know what they're doing. They made us addicted to this thing. And then they shut us down. They shut us down. And they made us question things. They made us question. They loved the distraction. We are the United States of distraction. We have people, by the way, this is so important, who are spending so much time on Claudia Gay, still, who act as a distraction from what is really happening in the world that matters. Sparky says, feeling the tension in the room. As Armstrong stepped off the ladder onto the moon, Granddad exclaimed, look out, it's going to get him. Everyone jumped. Granddad, born 1902, was hilarious. Sparky, do you believe we landed on the moon? Do you believe that? And if somebody said to me, well, it was in all the papers. Remember the joke? It was in all the papers. Did you hear about that? Do I believe in that? Well, it's kind of hard to say. Why would I not believe in it? Why? Why would I not believe? And by the way, dear friends, do you know that today is 303 days until the election? Do you know that? Do you know that? Did you know that? That should scare the hell out of you. But it doesn't, because it seems like a long name, because the number doesn't correspond to any kind of temporal propinquity. That's the way you think. That is the way you think. And I recognize that that is the way that you think. But I digress, my friends. But do you believe it's like, why would I not? Why would I not? Why would I not believe? Why, dear heart? Why? Why would I not believe? Why? You're asking me, do I believe in election? I never doubted it. Well, but I've got some videos. Well, those are your videos. Why don't more people I don't know. Am I supposed to not believe something because you've come up with an alternative view of something? Do you? What do you want me to do? Where did they go? I don't know. I don't really have an opinion about that. I'm not sure. I haven't given. It means a lot to me before I sign off on something. These are very, very important words. You know what I do believe in? I believe, and there's a wonderful piece I did. We've been talking about this, about food, water, and energy insecurity. When you hear about Gaza, when you hear about caloric limitations, starvation, when you hear about kids and women, kids who are not able to suckle, who are not breastfeed, women who are not producing because of starvation, am I supposed to not believe that? We'll get to this in a moment, but when you talk about food insecurity, this could happen and probably will happen here unless you do something about it. That's why you've got to know about preparewithlionel.com. They can't handle the truth, but you can. The truth is, the clowns running this joint live for chaos. And many of our problems could be solved overnight, but they let them be. Destruction fuels them. If you can handle that truth, you need to visit my website, preparewithlionel.com. Preparewithlionel.com. You'll get $60 off a much needed 4-week emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply. The country's largest preparedness company, My Patriot Supply, is your fighting chance at survival. Sealed inside rugged packaging, these delicious meals last up to 25 years and provide over 2,000 calories a day. Think about that. Eat right in emergencies with this 4-week food kit from My Patriot Supplies. At this low price, you can get one for everyone in your family. Visit preparewithlionel.com. Write this down. Commit it to memory. Preparewithlionel.com. Order by 3 p.m. for free same-day shipping. Prepare right now at preparewithlionel.com. One more time. Preparewithlionel.com before total chaos ensues. And don't forget, dear friends, chaos is the opposite of cosmos. Cosmos is order. Do you believe? You do not have to believe to be suspicious of something. Do not fall into the position where you love to believe things because they are different. I know people who love to believe, they believe everything. I know that when I look up at the sky and I see what people call chemtrails, actually is geoengineering. I believe, and we're hearing about this, it's verified, that this is stratospheric, some type of injection of some type of particularized, maybe nanotechnology, strontium, aluminum, I don't know what, but this is not condensation trial. This is not, vapor and water vapor. It's not it. Now, what it is and why it is and who's doing it and all that, that I know, but there's something there. I've got a friend of mine who will take that and extrapolate it to it. And the reason why, it's magnetizing our blood. Okay, fine. Now you're just off and running. Please, dear friends, please listen to me carefully. Do not, repeat, do not, I say this again, do not believe in something just because you like believing in things. Believe in it because you have reason to believe. Now, you're all going to stop and you're going to sign up for Mrs. L's YouTube channel right now. You are going to do it immediately. You are going to follow her. You are going to listen to her. You're going to listen to what's going on. There is a war on for our children here, not in Gaza, not in Tel Aviv, not in Rafah, here in this country. And the number one, you talk about Jeffrey Epstein, the number one trafficker, if you will, is the United States government. To what we're seeing at the border. Sparky says, yes, I do believe we did land men on the moon because as a scatterbrain, I knew and understood the complexity and it made sense. That's all that happens. Good. I always have no problem saying, well, I'll look into it. I guess, I suppose. I mean, how much of what, Sparky, how much? Do you believe half? Remember what Tolstoy said, history would be a wonderful thing if only it were true. History would be a wonderful thing if only it were true. Dear God. Now, my friends, also, remember this. This is so important, so critical for you as well. I want you to follow Mrs. L on X. We used to call it Twitter, but we used to call it X. And I want you to listen, my friends. Listen, you shall. And this is it right there. And I want you to go and I want you to follow this and click right away. She is under some kind of a weird kind of algorithm attack. And I thought at first, it's like, well, we'll look into it. It's absolutely true. If she goes up 5 followers, she'll go down 5 followers. She goes up. It's like somebody somewhere says you are not going to go beyond this. So I want to overwhelm the system with your input. So let me go back to where I was. Where the hell was I? And I believe, oh, yes, here we go. It is right here. This is it right there. Follow her. Follow her right now. You will see the best stuff there is. Now, let me also tell you, dear friends, we're going to be back tonight at 7 p.m. It is always a pleasure talking to you. And sometimes you're completely full of prunes, as my mother would say. You're full of beans. Sometimes you wax logolalic. You're completely disjointed. You possess a kind of a detachment from reality, from logic. It's logolalia, logoria, You provide disjointed and completely discombobulated streams of unconsciousness, but that doesn't mean you're not special. And that does not mean I don't love you. So go on today. Have a great and a glorious day, dear friends. See you tonight at 7 p.m. Don't forget, sign up. I've got a lot to talk about, so please, whatever you do, I beg, beseech, implore, and entreat you to comment as you see fit. And don't forget these final words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.